It's illustrated by Nicola Spencer, and it's got a red dragon and it looks like a couple of mice on the front in amongst a mountain range. It's called Snort, A Dragon's Tale. AIL/TALE as well. Let's talk to Paddy Hall on the show. How are you, Paddy? How are you, Paddy? Nice to talk to you. I found you. How are you doing? Nice to see you.
And nice to see you again, David.
How long's this been in the pipeline then, Paddy? Tell us about it.
It started halfway into the first year of lockdown. I'm chair of a governor of primary school, and I was having great fun running a small group called Awful Authors of young pupils who had a story in and not sure how to get it out.
Right.
And we were story developing, and I took in 3 wooden mice, and we decided that they would be called Shall We, What If and Do It, and they've become central characters alongside Snort in this book. And over the 2 years of lockdown, we did it a chapter at a time, remotely, onto big screens into their classrooms, and I've gathered some of their ideas up which were incorporated into the final chapter, and some very nice comments from some of the pupils on the back page.
Yeah, Humberside Primary School, who doesn't love a good tale? Transported. Actually, this is not from one of the pupils. I've just picked Lucy Hudson, the head teacher at Humberside Primary School. One of the teachers says, one of the pupils says, I thought the story was amazing. It's almost not a reading experience, but as though someone was sitting next to me reading it out. And Lonnie and Orin say, I liked the big parade. It was really satisfying to see all the animals coming together. It was so exciting and was the perfect way to bring all the plot threads together and to show the value of perseverance. Some rave reviews.
Yeah.
Reviews. So have you done this sort of thing before, Paddy?
I've been a storyteller for years. When I was a young man, I did sort of street storytelling with fire eating and so on occasionally. I was a drama teacher to begin with. I don't do that anymore, but I've always enjoyed telling stories. And story is the thing that lifted Homo sapiens away from the rest of the world, because if you look at the animal world, they can live in groups of up to about 70, we reckon, without a story. But beyond that, nobody can control them, and you need a story called a religion or an ism or a reason for being or some big thing that you can share with people. And it's the unique skill that humans have developed, sometimes to good ends and sometimes not, but I think it's really powerful.
But yeah, you've made me think there. I feel educated. So this is called Snort, A Dragon's Tale. Where do people get it, Paddy?
Well, it's been published today, so you can find it online now, and you can also go into any major bookshop and ask for it. And that would be the thing that I and Nicola would love most, which is if people do that, it causes the bookshops to then go and look online and find it and get stocks in.
Right, okay. And do you have high hopes for it? Is there a children's TV series in it? What are you hoping for?
I'll tell you something, Bertie. It's an exciting moment for me as I've written one book for young people on self-employment years ago, but it's the first children's story I've ever written, so it's an exciting moment for me. But then it sits alongside thousands of other books that were published, particularly during lockdown. The publishers of this book said they were turning down 40 to 50 a week, and when they accepted mine. So it's now a tiny tadpole in a huge pond, and I have to do everything I can to wish it well and give it legs.
No, of course. I mean, you have done well, because I've talked to quite a lot of people who've famous and not so famous, who wrote books in lockdown because they thought, I've got a story to tell, whether it be fiction or memoirs or whatever. Everybody seems to be doing it. What's your background?
I was a teacher. I was a dreaded Ofsted inspector. I'm still on boards of Wildlife Trust, 7 schools, Yorkshire Health Partners, so still involved in my aged experience. But the other side of this story, which I'm really keen on, is that Nicola, who is very young. This is her first full book she's illustrated. She lives locally, and she's done a fantastic job putting these illustrations together. We spent nearly a year working on the illustrations, and she's a really exciting young illustrator, and I'm very keen that she has a bright future in front of her.
I can see that. I'm looking at the front pages, the dragon, and I can see the third mouse now. It's up on the between the dragon's ears. I've spotted two of them, and it's set in a valley in some mountains. There's another picture shot from or illustrated from an aerial point of view in page 63. That's fantastic, beautifully done. And you can see the talent there. What age group is this aimed at, Pam?
It's aimed for 8 to 12-year-olds, and it tells the story of a valley where has been frozen in, and the old dragons who used to warm up and melt the ice at the end of the valley every year are too old and haven't got any children, and they finally produce one, Snort, who can't blow fire, and all he can do is produce the odd attempt at green snot in the mornings, and the three mice who live in the cave with him take him on an adventure up the mountains. They meet know-it-all jackdaws called Corvid 20 and Corvid 20A, nice. And some not terribly trustworthy lizards called Cummins and Govins. And they head to the top of the mountain.
Paddy. Behave yourself.
And they head to the top of the mountain eventually to meet the great atom bird, who has sat on the top of the mountain watching the world making a mess of itself for years. And his last act is to help the young dragon learn how to breathe fire.
Don't give too much away now.
All right.
I do like it. Social comment as well as entertaining your children, or letting the children by 8 to 12. They should be reading it themselves. I'm going to take. You brought me a copy, and I'm very grateful. I'll take this home to Pat and Ernie, and I might read one when they're staying over one night. And
great.
We shall get them involved because I like the illustration. So. People, if they go to the local bookshop and ask for Snort, A Dragon's Tale, spelt in two different ways by Paddy Hall, illustrated by Nicola Spencer, they can get it. Can you get it online as well, Paddy?
You can get it online as well. If you look up Snort, A Dragon's Trail, you should be able to find it on the Austin Macaulay, who's the publisher's website, and get it online. And Waterstones are having a look to see whether they can do an event for us later on, because it's quite a complicated process for big bookstores to buy up, and a couple of local bookshops are also looking at doing an open event. And if those happen, I'll want to get Nicola there to sign books as well, and we'll let you know.
And, well, do let me know if you're doing Book Sign International. Let people know. Paddy, a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for sparing us some time today, and all the best.
Good, thank you. And I hope things go well for local radio. I think what you were talking about this morning is a real worry, because you do a great service for us.
That's very nice of you. Thank you very much. We'll find out more at 2 o'clock. The staff will find out more and get some of the details of the meeting tomorrow.